Your heart beats roughly 100,000 times a day. And while you probably don't think about it every time you grab breakfast, order lunch, or reach for a snack, the foods you eat every day can make a real difference to your heart health over time. The good news? Eating for your heart doesn't mean living on salads or giving up everything you enjoy. Some of the most heart-friendly foods are probably already sitting in your kitchen. In this video, we're counting down 15 heart-healthy foods worth eating more often, and a few of them might surprise you. One is a snack people often avoid because they think it's too high in fat. Another is a simple food you can buy for about $1. And when we get to number 1, you'll see why this everyday food has earned such a strong reputation when it comes to heart health. So let's start with number 15. Number 15, tomatoes. Let's start with something incredibly simple, tomatoes. Tomatoes contain an antioxidant called lycopene, the natural pigment responsible for their bright red color. Research has linked diets rich in tomatoes and lycopene with markers of better cardiovascular health. But here's something interesting. Cooked tomatoes can actually make lycopene easier for your body to absorb. So tomato sauce, roasted tomatoes, or tomatoes cooked with a little olive oil can all be great options. Just keep an eye on sodium if you're buying canned sauces or pre-made products. Fresh tomatoes are great too. Throw them into eggs, sandwiches, salads, wraps, whatever works for you. Nothing fancy, just an everyday food that deserves a little more attention. Number 14, oranges. You probably think of oranges when you think about vitamin C, but that's not the only reason they make this list. Oranges also provide potassium, folate, antioxidants, and fiber. And potassium is particularly important because it helps your body manage sodium and supports healthy blood pressure. There's one catch, though. If you have the choice between eating an orange and drinking orange juice, the whole orange usually wins. Why? Because you keep the fiber, and it's much harder to consume the sugar from 3 or 4 oranges when you actually have to eat them. So don't overlook the fruit bowl. Sometimes the simplest choice is the better one. Number 13, dark chocolate. Yep, chocolate made the list, but before you celebrate and grab an entire candy bar, there's an important difference. We're talking about dark chocolate with a high cocoa content, not chocolate loaded with caramel, sugar, and other extras. Cocoa contains plant compounds called flavonols. These compounds have been studied for their potential effects on blood vessel function and cardiovascular health. The key word here is moderation. A small piece of quality dark chocolate can fit into a heart-conscious diet. Half a family-sized bar every night? Probably not what the researchers had in mind. Number 12, beans. Beans might be one of the most underrated foods in the grocery store. Black beans, kidney beans, pinto beans, chickpeas. They're inexpensive, filling, and packed with nutrients. Most importantly for your heart, beans provide plenty of soluble fiber. Soluble fiber can help lower LDL cholesterol, the type commonly referred to as bad cholesterol. Beans also provide plant protein, potassium, magnesium, and other nutrients. And because they're so filling, replacing some processed or high-saturated fat foods with beans can be an easy upgrade. Add them to chili, throw them into a salad, make tacos, blend chickpeas into hummus. Heart-healthy eating doesn't have to be complicated. Number 11, avocados. Remember that high-fat food we mentioned earlier? Here it is. Avocados contain a lot of fat, but that's exactly why the type of fat matters. Much of the fat in avocado is monounsaturated fat, the same general type of heart-friendly fat found in olive oil. Avocados also provide fiber and potassium, so instead of fearing all dietary fat, think about what you're replacing. Using avocado in place of foods high in saturated fat can be a much different choice than simply adding avocado on top of an already calorie-heavy meal. Put some on whole grain toast, add it to a salad, use it in a sandwich. You don't need an entire avocado every time. A little can go a long way. Number 10, blueberries, small fruit. Big nutritional reputation. Blueberries contain compounds called anthocyanins. They're responsible for that deep blue-purple color and have been studied for their antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. Berries are also naturally sweet while providing fiber. That makes them a great option when you want something sweet without reaching for cookies or candy. Add blueberries to oatmeal, mix them into Greek yogurt, blend some into a smoothie, or just eat them straight from the refrigerator. And blueberries aren't your only option. Strawberries, raspberries, and blackberries are excellent choices too. Number 9, garlic. Garlic has been used in food for thousands of years. And fortunately, you don't need to eat raw garlic cloves like some internet challenge to get it into your diet. Garlic contains sulfur compounds, including compounds formed when garlic is chopped or crushed. Researchers have studied garlic for possible effects on blood pressure and cholesterol, although it certainly isn't a replacement for medication or medical care. The easiest benefit might simply be this: garlic makes healthy food taste better. Vegetables, fish, beans, chicken, homemade sauces. If healthier meals taste good, you're much more likely to keep eating them. And consistency matters far more than one superfood. Number 8, walnuts. Here's another food people sometimes avoid because it's high in calories and fat, walnuts. But again, we're talking about mostly unsaturated fats. Walnuts are also notable because they contain ALA, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. They provide fiber, protein, magnesium, and several beneficial plant compounds as well. The trick with nuts is portion size. You don't need a giant bowl. A small handful can be plenty. Try walnuts in oatmeal, yogurt, salads, or just keep a small portion around as a snack. And if walnuts aren't your thing, almonds, pistachios, and other unsalted nuts can also be excellent choices. Number 7, oats. If your breakfast usually comes out of a sugary cereal box, oats might be one of the easiest swaps you can make. Oats contain a special type of soluble fiber called beta-glucan, and beta-glucan has been shown to help reduce LDL cholesterol when consumed regularly as part of a healthy diet. Oats are also inexpensive and incredibly easy to customize. Add berries, add walnuts, add cinnamon, add some Greek yogurt for extra protein, and suddenly one bowl contains several foods from this list. Just watch the instant oatmeal packets with a ton of added sugar. Plain oats give you much more control over what goes into your breakfast. Number 6, leafy green vegetables, spinach, kale, collard greens, arugula. These aren't exactly the foods people get excited about at a barbecue, but your heart has a different opinion. Leafy greens provide potassium, magnesium, folate, fiber, and natural dietary nitrates. Your body can convert those nitrates into nitric oxide, which helps blood vessels relax and supports healthy circulation. And you don't have to eat a giant bowl of raw kale every day. Throw spinach into scrambled eggs, add greens to sandwiches, mix them into soups, blend a small amount into a smoothie. The best vegetable is usually the one you'll actually keep eating. Number 5, extra virgin olive oil. We're into the top 5 now, and number 5 is a staple of the Mediterranean diet, extra virgin olive oil. Olive oil is rich in monounsaturated fats and also contains polyphenols, plant compounds with antioxidant properties. But here's the important part. Think of olive oil as a replacement, not a magic ingredient. Replacing butter or other sources of saturated fat with olive oil can improve the overall fat profile of your diet. Use it for cooking. Drizzle a little over vegetables. Make your own salad dressing. You don't need to drink shots of olive oil. Yes, people actually do that. Just use it as food. Number 4, lentils. If beans are underrated, lentils might be even more overlooked. They're packed with fiber. They contain plant-based protein. They're naturally low in saturated fat, and they're incredibly affordable. That combination makes lentils especially useful if you're trying to eat less processed meat without feeling hungry an hour later. 1 cup of cooked lentils gives you a substantial amount of fiber and protein in the same meal. Use them in soups, curries, salads, bowls, or even mix them with ground meat to stretch a recipe while adding more fiber. Sometimes heart-healthy eating isn't about removing foods, it's about finding smarter foods to add. Number 3, salmon. Now we're getting serious. Salmon is one of the best-known dietary sources of the omega-3 fatty acids, EPA and DHA. Omega-3s play several roles in cardiovascular health and can help lower triglycerides. That's one reason fatty fish regularly shows up in heart-healthy eating recommendations. Salmon also gives you high-quality protein and several important micronutrients. Grilled, baked, air-fried, added to a salad. There are plenty of ways to prepare it without turning it into a calorie bomb. And salmon isn't the only option. Sardines, trout, herring, and other fatty fish can provide omega-3s too. Number 2. Whole grains. Number 2 isn't one specific food. It's an entire category Americans often don't get enough of. Whole grains. We're talking about foods like whole oats, barley, brown rice, quinoa, and 100% whole grain bread. Whole grains keep more of the original grain intact than refined grains, which means they generally provide more fiber and nutrients. And higher whole grain intake has consistently been associated with better cardiovascular outcomes. An easy place to start? Look at what you already eat. White bread. Try a whole grain version. Refined cereal. Try oats. White rice every night. Mix in brown rice or another whole grain sometimes. You don't need to rebuild your entire diet overnight. Small replacements add up. And now we're at number 1. Number 1. Fatty fish. If we had to choose one food category that repeatedly appears in heart health recommendations, fatty fish deserves a spot near the very top. Salmon is one example, but this category also includes sardines, mackerel, trout, and herring. What makes these fish special? Again, it's those omega-3 fatty acids, particularly EPA and DHA. They can help lower triglycerides and are associated with cardiovascular benefits when fatty fish is part of an overall healthy eating pattern. And this is important. You don't need to eat fish every single day. For many adults, incorporating fish into meals a couple of times per week can be a practical goal. Bake it with herbs, grill it, add salmon to a grain bowl, put sardines on whole grain toast if that's your thing. Heart-healthy food doesn't have to taste like health food. It just has to become part of what you normally eat. The big takeaway. Now here's the part I really want you to remember. You don't need all 15 of these foods tomorrow, and no single food on this list can protect your heart by itself. Your overall eating pattern matters much more. More fruits and vegetables, more fiber-rich foods, more whole grains, more beans and lentils, more nuts and seeds, healthy sources of fat, and less reliance on heavily processed foods high in sodium, added sugar, and saturated fat. Start with 2 or 3 foods from this list that you actually enjoy and can realistically eat more often. That's how healthy eating becomes something you can stick with. Now, tell us in the comments, which food on this list do you already eat regularly, and what should we talk about next? We read your suggestions, and your idea might become one of our next videos. And if this video helped you make even one healthier choice, consider subscribing to Mind and Motion. We're still growing, so every single subscriber genuinely helps us build this channel and make more videos like this. Thanks for watching. Take care of your body, take care of your mind, and we'll see you in the next one.